Okay. So for women and sometimes also men who might be either triggered or possibly misunderstanding what I mean when I say the man should lead the woman, which I understand in this day and age might sound extremely sexist and even like backwards, as if I'm saying, let's go back to the Middle Ages or, where where the man disempowers the woman, controls the woman, and uses her life force energy to uphold or uplift himself. That is literally the opposite of what I mean when the man should lead the woman. In this case, definitely it is not where there is a despotic, dictatorial, kind of a cult leader figure in the house who's he says something which, serves his ego and his whim because he is a poor masculine. And the woman is a servant, she's an underling, and she just does everything he says, and she's not allowed outside the house. And if she is, she has to wear clothes that she sewed herself. This is ridiculous. There is a spiritual way in which the masculine leads the feminine, and this is what I'm talking about. It's not an out of consent, backwards, abusive, physical leading per se. It's a spiritual leading. And again, am I saying the woman can't be the leader? The woman doesn't know how to lead. You could argue that if you were born a woman in this lifetime, you've mastered the masculine. So now you want to play with the feminine. You want to feel your feminine in this lifetime because the masculine isn't as interesting for you to explore. And in fact, this is what I believe. If you want to be fully, fully feminine in this lifetime, your masculine actually has to be pitch perfect because you can only be as feminine as you are masculine. You can't be more feminine and less masculine. That's just not happening. So if your masculine is fully formed, very integral, very reliable, and like his word is like life or death. Like if he gives his promise that he's going to do something, even if he 6 years later you call upon that promise and he has to like die in the process of fulfilling that promise, he'll do it because he gave his word. If your masculine isn't like this, you cannot be really feminine in this lifetime. You just can't. So for the woman to express her femininity in this lifetime, don't worry, your masculinity is good. You don't have to prove to me that you're masculine. Okay, so when we talk about leading, it's a little bit more like, for example, I used to take Argentine tango lessons and I loved it. Um, Even if you have your sexist lens, and you probably have a sexist lens if you're triggered by what I say, you need to be able to try and take it off in order to understand what I'm saying, which might be hard because it depends on how healed you are and how programmed you might be. A lot of women are like, why do I have to dance backwards? Why do I have to dance backwards and in high heels? It's hard work, they're angry about it. This shows me they feel uncomfortable being in their feminine. Because again, the man is not trying to violate you by leading in Argentine tango and like walking forward. This is not a position of violating the feminine, using the feminine, taking the feminine for granted. In fact, in my opinion, which of course you don't have to agree with, he is dancing the woman. The woman is being danced and she is not paying attention to other couples in the room. He is navigating the room and making sure that they don't bump into anyone. He is also making sure that something is happening at each moment. He's trying to make sure she has fun, and a bad lead, and I think some of us have experienced this, have no creativity, and it's not fun to be led by them. What I'm talking about spiritually is it is the most fun ever to be led by a really good masculine, like on the dance floor. To be led by a really good masculine on the dance floor is some of the most fun I've personally ever had. And it helps you just be, it helps you just dance. It helps you kind of like be in the moment in such a way where you don't have to pay attention to the other couples on the dance floor. You are being danced, you're being celebrated. And in many ways, the man being there creates a structure for the woman to dance within. So it's like the frame of a painting. So another way to look at this is if there's pure water and you want to have a river, you need to have river banks for the water to be within. Those banks, you can think of it as leading the water in a certain direction. Does that mean that the water has less power in the hierarchy than the banks? No. In fact, the banks, you could argue, came second and the water came first. But when you have the banks and the water together, you can form a river. So this is what I believe, that when there's an idea of something like out in space, a brand new idea, it is feminine. But to materialize it on what seems like Earth, there has to be the masculine first in order to create a container. So a really easy way to look at this is like a water glass. A water glass holds the water in it, right? So the water has some place to stay, and therefore you can drink the water, etc. But the water glass, the masculine container, clearly comes second. It only comes second after the idea of water was created first. So without water, the feminine, the water glass can never exist, which is masculine. So spiritually, cosmically, the feminine comes first. Materially, like on the earth plane, the masculine actually needs to come first for then the water to rest within. And then something useful or something enjoyable can occur. So if the woman wants to be danced, there needs to be a masculine to dance her. That doesn't mean either has more power in the hierarchy. And in fact, what I'm arguing is spiritually, the woman comes first. So what that looks like in real life to let a man lead you is he's extremely attuned to you. Your experience comes above his experience. Your pleasure comes above his pleasure. And he is witnessing you go through life and celebrating you. And he monitors you almost like a mother monitors their child. They have to be very, very attuned. So if the child needs something that they can't verbalize, the mother provides it. Similarly, if the woman needs something that she can't verbalize, the man provides it. It's a very deep and intimate relationship that enhances both. Like, what would a water glass do in real life if all water disappeared on Earth? Would he have a purpose? Would his life have meaning? I'm going to argue no, he should just die. This is similar. You and your man, you give his life meaning. Holding you gives his life purpose. So being led is a beautiful thing. And it's impossible to see that with a sexist lens. You have to be able to take that off, see it from a spiritual perspective, at least how I see it from my spiritual perspective, and understand that the man leading you is similar to a dance where you're the one who gets to dance and have fun and be a river and not have to think and try to not knock into things. You just are, you just do, And the spiritual feeling embodied in a body, a pure masculine and pure feminine, is probably one of the most delicious feelings you're ever going to feel in your whole entire life. And feeling that with another individual, I think, is such a beautiful expression of life. So that cannot happen if the woman is leading the man. It really cannot happen if the woman is leading the man. And it really also cannot happen if the woman is in the follower position in dance, for example, but leading him from the follower position, if you understand what I'm saying. That means she doesn't trust him. That means she doesn't trust herself. That means she's not open and flexible. She's stiff. And it's just not fun. It's not fun for her. It's not fun for him. The only thing that it does is it doesn't challenge her ego. So one more aspect of letting a man lead you is a woman needs to have done enough shadow work so that she doesn't feel more comfortable in the leader position. She actually feels more comfortable in her actual natural state of being feminine. Okay. There it is. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.